History's most devastating losses rarely involve the collapse of a city wall. The deepest wounds happen when an invading force decides to burn an archive. In the late 12th century, a highly calculated attack struck the ancient world's greatest center of learning, Nalanda University. The fires ignited within its massive library complex burned continuously for months, quietly consuming millions of individual texts. The invaders bypassed the standard goals of medieval warfare, looting gold or seizing strategic high ground, and directed their focus squarely on the university's collections. While much of medieval Europe struggled to retain basic literacy, Nalanda operated as an incredibly advanced intellectual hub. Looking at this map of ancient Asian trade routes, you can see how scholars traveled thousands of miles, from China, Korea, and Tibet, specifically to study at this single point in modern-day India. And here is exactly what they came to study: ancient palm leaf manuscripts. Monks meticulously etched dense script into fragile leaves using a sharp stylus. These held centuries of advanced astronomy, mathematical proofs, and surgical procedures ahead of their time. By concentrating all of that specialized data in one geographic location, Nalanda functioned as the primary hard drive for ancient Asian civilization. That extreme concentration of knowledge became a fatal vulnerability the day an invading army appeared on the horizon of Bihar. Standard historical assumptions suggest an army seeks out wealth or resources, but the records of the Nalanda invasion describe a campaign that largely ignored the surrounding gold and fertile land. The invaders encountered a highly specialized system of philosophy and logic that sat entirely outside their own cultural experience. Their response was the total physical liquidation of the materials containing those ideas. This priority dictated their entire strategy. They bypassed the region's military strongholds and marched directly toward the unguarded stacks of the library. It was a campaign where the primary weapon was the torch, and the primary enemy was the written word. Upon breaching the university walls, the soldiers systematically set the massive, multi-story library complex on fire. If you look closely at this tight Sanskrit calligraphy, you can see the precise density of the scientific thought that the invaders deliberately targeted for erasure. We know the library housed an unimaginable volume of information because of a grim mathematical reality. The massive stacks of dried leaves and paper provided enough fuel for the fire to burn continuously for up to 6 months. The physical material burned slowly, but thousands of years of accumulated human observation and mathematical discovery vanished almost instantly. When the smoke finally cleared, a massive portion of human civilization had been forced into absolute amnesia. It raises a terrifying mathematical question. If those medical and astronomical archives had survived, how many centuries earlier would we have reached our modern technological baseline? We will never know. In this stark photograph of the ruins, the vibrant center of ancient science was replaced by a silent void. Look closely at these surviving stone carvings. While massive blocks of brick and stone endured the flames, the fragile pages of science perished. Today, these empty courtyards serve as a physical scar, showing us exactly what it costs when an army successfully attacks human intellect. Physically, the invaders won. They successfully reduced a 9-story academic complex to ash and rubble. But their core objective ultimately failed. Long before the fires were lit, the scholars who had traveled thousands of miles to study at Nalanda had already carried its core concepts back to their home countries. You can burn millions of pages, and you can collapse heavy stone walls, but an idea, once it escapes into the world, is impossible to destroy. If you want to uncover the hidden psychological motives behind other major historical events, hit the subscribe button.